We unmuted. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. It's August 19th. We are at the City of Clear Lake City Council chambers. We're here for a press briefing on the cache fire incident that started yesterday in the City of Clear Lake. Tonight we have representatives from city and county government organizations, as well as several other members of local governments, including the Lake County Fire Protection District. We're here to answer questions and give a presentation and update on the status of the cache fire that impacted the City of Clear Lake and the Township of Lower Lake yesterday. The format of this meeting will be that we will have representatives from various organizations provide information and updates, and we'd like to hold all questions until the end of the press briefing, at which time we're happy to answer any questions you might have. We have a fairly diverse group of people, and we'll do our best to answer any questions that may come out. We'll take questions from those that are here with us in the council chambers, as well as those that are here joining us by way of Zoom. My name is Sheriff Brian Martin. I'll be moderating the press conference tonight, and I'd like to start it out with an introduction, a brief presentation of the fire and how it started, and the initial response by Lake County Fire Protection Chief Willie Cepeda.
Hi, thank you for joining us. We were actually en route to a different type of fire. Was reported to a oven fire. First unit on scene on 29th Avenue identified a smoke calling coming from the southeast section of the Clear Lake area. We immediately responded to that, augmented a series of dispatches. Upon arrival, it was on 6th and Cache. We had approximately a quarter to a half an acre of debris, automobiles, and brush and trees. We had wind events that exceeded 20 miles an hour. The fire pushed aggressively to the southwest, took some strong runs, had significant spotting, long range spotting. Within minutes, it had already spotted down to the areas of Dam Road. Right after the initial size up, request went for a complete CAL FIRE wildland dispatch, an in-county immediate need task force, a task force from Mendocino County, a task force from Colusa County, and to begin evacuations. Those evacuations involved several different zones established in the zone haven. The fire aggressively continued to progress with long-range spotting. It was a combination of law enforcement and fire service really looking at the life safety and evacuations. There was really no initial attack to the fire other than to evacuate our citizens. As the fire progressed, we were able to get additional resources in and become more of an initial attack. So we are looking at approximately 83 acres. We're pushing 30 to nearly 40% containment. We had crews on the fire line 24 hours yesterday. We'll have them on 24 hours today, and we'll look at downgrading probably to 12-hour shifts somewhere now near Saturday or possibly Sunday. On the initial, we had 28 engines, multiple other ground and air resources, and for today we had 9 engines. Tomorrow I'll have 7. My staff will continue to patrol the entire area of 5th and Cache, all the way down to Main Street and Lower Lake to include Mistletoe, Bryant, Tishatang, and outlying areas in those remote areas. So from there, turn it over to Chief White.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew White. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Clear Lake. Just briefly, as the fire chief mentioned, we received the initial dispatch as well, and we were also on scene of that fire. We quickly responded, and our primary focus at that time was to alert the public and to begin immediate door-to-door evacuations. We enlisted mutual aid with the Lake County Sheriff's Office and numerous other local agencies, including the Highway Patrol, state parks, Fish and Game, etc. The officers began their focus north of Dam Road and also working their way west and south. It became apparent that the fire was crossing over the roadway towards the mobile home park. We went door to door within that location along with the other agencies to spread the word to get folks out. The incident, as was mentioned, began moving towards Lower Lake. At that time, we were in unified command with the fire department and also shortly thereafter with the sheriff's office. Again, our focus on life and safety. As we developed information that was moving towards there was some spotting down by Lower Lake High School and Lower Lake Elementary School. Our units went out there and assisted the school with safely evacuating all the children. According to our records, that was complete at about 2:03 in the afternoon. Since that time, all the units from the law enforcement side focused on maintaining safety of the area for the first responders to get any other people out that hadn't made it out initially, and providing security to the area. Our animal care and control also responded. We had numerous animals that were injured and some that were unfortunately deceased. So we worked on getting those out as well. More recently, our officers and our detectives have been focused on contacting and establishing positive contact with all the residents of the homes that were lost. To date, we've been able to clear 51 of those, either through positive contact or through searching remains on the properties. There are additional ones remaining to be searched. At this time, we are not aware that any of those have fatalities, but we are cautious that there are additional properties to be searched and additional work to be done. At this time, we don't have any formal missing person reports, though we are still continuing to get information that we are following up on. I'd just like to thank all the outside resources that came in to assist, from the sheriff's office to everybody else, for us to be able to respond to this incident. As far as alerting, I mentioned we went door to door. We also, in working with the sheriff's office, issued out numerous other alerts, including the Zone Haven, the WIA cell phone alerts, and Nixle reporting. That was all in addition to the door-to-door evacuations. I'll turn it back over to Sheriff Martin.
Thank you, Chiefs. This, as you heard mentioned earlier, this fire also had an impact on some of our local schools here. It caused some issues for the schools, which had just returned to their session after being away for most of last year and all of summer. We have a representative from the local school district here, Canocti Superintendent of Schools, Becky Salata, with an update and information on how this impacted the schools and what to expect in the next few days.
Good evening. I'm Becky Salato. I'm the superintendent for Canocti Unified School District. Yesterday, we evacuated approximately 1,500 students and 200 staff very successfully. We'd like to thank all of the organizations that helped us. We were very supported by our first responders. We currently have closed the district today. My 5 schools that are in the Lower Lake area will remain closed tomorrow as we begin our deep cleaning of the interior to bring our kids back hopefully Monday safely. The remainder of our schools in Canocti will reopen tomorrow. Thank you.
These large-scale evacuations also resulted in the establishment of a temporary evacuation and shelter site. We activated our sheltering operations first at Kelseyville High School, and it's since been moved to Twin Pine Casino. From Lake County Department of Social Services, Teresa Schoen is here to give an update on sheltering operations.
Good afternoon. I'm with Lake County Department of Social Services, and we opened a shelter at Kelseyville High School yesterday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then today at 11 a.m., we relocated that to Twin Pines Casino. And yesterday we had 42 evacuees who registered into the shelter. Today we had an additional 30 or so that registered. And right now our priority is meeting immediate needs: medication management, food, a bed to sleep in, and longer term, Red Cross will be managing the shelter. We will be in a support position, and that's when we will move towards resources towards recovery.
Where we move to next is, with all fires, the initial response is coming under control, but this is going to have a long-term impact. So to talk about some of the additional recovery efforts that are going with this is City Manager Alan Flora, as well as Chief Willie Cepeda again.
Thank you, Sheriff Martin. So last night around 9 o'clock, in my authority as Emergency Services Director for the City of Clear Lake, declared a local emergency. We'll be asking the City Council this evening at 6 o'clock to ratify that emergency. And so we're hoping that declaration will begin opening up resources for both short-term housing, cleanup, and longer-term recovery efforts for those impacted by this disaster. We are concerned about some significant environmental cleanup that may be associated with this. And so we're asking for resources related to that. And our partners from social services mentioned access to initial information, and that should all be accessed at Twin Pine at the shelter at this time. And then as we kind of move into this next phase, we'll be sharing additional information out as it comes forward on how we can assist with those impacted by this disaster. I did want to just share a few numbers based on the damage assessment that was largely completed today. And it looks like 56 structures were destroyed, 81 outbuildings for a total of 137 total structures lost, and 158 vehicles of various types were lost in the fire. So
those are some stark numbers for what was a relatively short fire in a small area. It was quite damaging. The additional efforts, while not speaking for any of the utilities, Chief Cepeda is very familiar with the response in these types of areas, so he wants to talk a little bit about generally what goes on with the utility recoveries with the phone company and PG&E.
Thank you. As we move forward and looking at the evacuation orders being lifted and the repopulation of communities, is that the personal safety of the community coming back into those areas. It's a very daunting and very slow process, is to eliminate all of the various hazards that are out there. Some of our biggest hazards are tree hazards. There's a significant amount of trees that need to be fallen and cut back, and to ensure that they aren't going to pose a risk to the communications infrastructure, the utility infrastructure, or moreover our community members. That is going to be a couple of days in work. There's a tremendous amount of work to be done in those trees. The other is the reestablishment of over 30 poles were destroyed, as well as damage to a tower. We coordinated with PG&E late last night. We brought them in this morning, working in unison with them to ensure that we can get their infrastructure back up. But it is as I stated, a daunting task to remove all the old wiring, make sure that it's safe, everything is tested. And so it's going to be a few days before that infrastructure is going to be reestablished. That doesn't mean that it's going to be several days before we look at repopulation. Once the lines are back in place, we'll look at those case by case, and then we'll coordinate. So the water and those utilities that we rely on are there. As Alan was talking about, the environmental issue is there's a significant amount of dust particles that are contaminants that we don't want our folks to be in that environment for a period of time. So there's a lot of steps to the repopulation of any community, and the number one is the safety of those folks getting in and out. As I said earlier, we're gonna have resources there for the next few days, the fire equipment coming in and out. And so we will keep you posted, and we will do it incrementally as those areas become safe. We will do our best to get those areas reestablished and repopulated and support the long.
Thank you for your patience while we had that quick technical break. As you hear, this fire impacted our community very quickly, very severely. Right now, we're fortunate that even though we have a state of disaster or emergencies proclaimed, we've kept our fatality count so far at 0. We hope to keep it that way. Before we go to question and answer, we have a couple of our elected representatives here, both from the city of Clear Lake and the county of Lake. I'd like to turn it over to them for remarks from them before we take questions.
Thank you, Chief Martin. First of all, I want to thank all Lake County Fire District and surrounding area fire departments, CAL FIRE, CHP, Sheriff's Department, City Police Department, City Public Works Department, and all other first responders. They did an awesome job in preventing further devastation last night. You guys were on it. Awesome. Although this was another tragic, fast-moving fire in our city and county. So far, like you said, no fatalities, but I understand there's one victim, an older lady that was flown out of the county with trauma burn center. She's in all our prayers. The location of the fire presents, like our city manager said, environmental challenges as runoff and things could impact Cache Creek. So that's a challenge, and hopefully by the declaration, we'll be able to get some outside state agencies to help us. I'm sure that the city and county agencies will be posting available resources on their website within the next few days. Already numerous nonprofits have already come forward with help for the survivors. We already heard from several of them, like LARCA, the Rotary Club Association from Lake County. They have helped Lake County fire survivors in the last 6 years, and they're ready to help again. Red Cross has come on board. Some other agencies, NCO is here to help. And I'm sure that the city of Clear Lake and its people will help the survivors in rebuilding their lives. We can do this together. Remember, this is Lake County strong. Thank you.
And District Supervisor and Chairperson of the Board, Bruno Sabatier.
First and foremost, my heart goes out to everybody who had to flee from the fire, who lost a house in the fire. The fear that puts into us, we've all experienced it from all different levels. My heart goes out to all of you who had to endure that yesterday. My gratitude to all first responders putting their lives at risk to save other people's lives. While the fire was devastating and extreme, it was stopped from doing further destruction, and my thanks and gratitude for their actions. I give my pledge to helping the city of Clear Lake and the county to work together with the state and our federal partners to get everything that we can to move swiftly. Recovery can't start until we're ready to go and the fire zone is completely safe, but the conversations have already begun. Throughout the night, throughout today, I have been in communications with everyone that I can to make sure that we are prepared to take those actions and move forward. You see before you, you already have a great team of collaborators. You walk inside the fire zone right now, there's an even larger team of collaborators working to clean up the area and make it safe for everyone. And that work will continue. But again, my heart goes out to all of you that have been impacted. Thank you.
That concludes our presentation of information and update. We'll now open up to questions within the city council chambers, and we'll follow it up with questions through the Zoom room. Is there anybody in the council chambers that has any questions? And anybody in the Zoom room? Okay, thank you. We're going to conclude the meeting. This will be immediately followed by the Clear Lake City Council meeting tonight. We want to thank you for all your time, and we will post updates as information becomes available. Thank you for your time.